Hi, I'm Chris Kauza with Cazador Associates, and with me here today is social media expert and author Kevin Knebl. As the most recommended person on LinkedIn with over 860 individual client testimonials, Kevin speaks, trains, and advises businesses internationally on online and offline networking, relationship building, and he has special expertise with LinkedIn and Twitter. He's equal parts comedian, therapist, and teacher, and he helps organizations to significantly grow their businesses through dynamic, inspirational, and humorous workshops, webinars, and corporate trainings. You know, one of the things Kevin and I share is a belief in the KLT factor: know, like, and trust. As with marketing, the best relationships are based on this. It's all about taking a sincere interest in your network while adding value to all of your relationships. The paradox is that while social media leverages technology, it's really all about the human connections. Isn't that right, Kevin?
Absolutely.
So we all kind of have an idea of what networking is. What's really kind of some etiquette or things we got to think about for successful online networking?
The thing to keep in mind is that online networking is very similar to offline networking. However you are in the real world, you probably are the same way in the virtual world. And as the world becomes more and more interconnected, it serves us well to make sure that we're authentic, we're transparent, we're sincere, because as these technologies continue to progress, sooner or later the truth comes out anyway. So be who you are, and there's not a differentiation between being professional and having a personality. So be sincere.
Okay, so it's kind of the same information either online or offline, but as far as creating really an effective networking outcome, what are some ways that we can think about to use these in conjunction with each other?
When you're meeting people in the real world, make sure in addition to getting their business card that you're asking them for the URL or the web address for their LinkedIn profile, for their Twitter profile, for their Facebook profile, because these are all communication channels, just like a telephone or just like smoke signals or just like any type of communication channel. If we know what those addresses are, that's just another opportunity for us to build and enhance those relationships.
Okay. What are some things that people could do to start to separate themselves from the masses of everybody else just getting on and trying to get 1 million followers of something?
That is a great question. There's this perception right now among a lot of people that I'll just get connected to everybody on their brother on social media sites and then the clouds will part and all the money will fall out of heaven. And that's not entirely accurate. If it was just a function of how many people could you be connected to, then every human being with a phone book should be a millionaire. So the answer is actually very simple. Most people never study effective networking skills, and I would say for every moment that people are learning how to use the newest dial or knob or whatever on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, spend a corresponding minute learning about effective networking etiquette. Talk more about the other person, ask more questions about what they do and what a good referral for them is, and take a sincere interest in them. As simple as that sounds, that will completely differentiate you from the masses.
So really just kind of be yourself, take a sincere interest in the person you're speaking to like you would ordinarily, and have that just translate to the content you put online on these profiles?
Absolutely. As you're sharing your professional information so people can know that you're a thought leader or a resource or that you're credible, don't be afraid to connect with people on a personal level too. The web, that's kind of the paradox you mentioned in the beginning. The web, even though the world is getting smaller, we're figuring out that people really, are people at heart. And it's not irrespective. The fact that you're a professional at what you do and the fact that you're a real person that takes a sincere interest in other people, that's actually serves you very well in a more and more interconnected world. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of our audience today, Kevin, are producers in the insurance industry. What are some things that you could share with our audience today to help them be more effective to develop business relationships, specifically for sales or business development purposes?
Well, if you're going to be using these social media sites, think of them as databases, meaning that if, as a producer, you're looking for a particular job title or a particular role that somebody would fit or a particular geographic area, when you learn how to use the advanced search functionalities, and we can just talk about LinkedIn for a second, you can find with laser-like precision. If I want to find somebody with a certain job title within 20 miles of a certain zip code, and I want to know what they do for fun on the weekend, and I want to know where they went to school, I'm not being a stalker. They're sharing all that information on their profile already, and me as a good networker, I'm just observing it and I'm using that to build a relationship.
You know, you said that term stalker and I almost laughed because there is so much information available these days,
Yeah.
not even just on these profiles, but just on the general internet that you can search.
Yeah.
How do you, I guess, leverage that information or use that information to develop an intimate relationship or develop strong rapport, but not come across as a stalker?
Well, the simple glib answer is don't be a stalker. The simple answer is if I'm connecting with you and I see on your LinkedIn profile that where you went to school, that you like to ski, that all this, I'm not intruding on your privacy. You put it there.
Okay.
You put it there for people to see it, right? Common sense is the most uncommon thing in the universe, right? So let's just agree that anything that's on your social media profile, you put it there because you want me to know. So really your question isn't necessarily a social media profile question. It's a networking question. How do I converse with you and have an interaction with you so that I'm not coming across as a stalker or somebody who's trying to kiss on the first date? Okay. I'm coming across as somebody who says, oh, I see what you do for a living. Oh, and you like to ski. Maybe we could talk about that. Okay.
So basically the bottom line is if it's out there, it's fair game to use. In fact, it's probably there in order for people to create a, more of a human connection, if you will.
Only for people that have good networking skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take it actually a different angle now. Another part of our audience today are actually large companies.
Sure.
So it's not necessarily an individual, even though businesses are made up of individuals. Companies want to be able to brand, and companies want to be able to connect, and companies want to be able to support their employees on these platforms. What are some things that larger companies ought to be thinking about in terms of their presence online?
Well, first off, they want to make sure they have a presence beyond just their website.
Okay.
Every business nowadays has a website, but they should have a presence also on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or any number of different social media channels based on the type of business they're in. If you don't, as an organization, if you don't have a presence on, let's say, LinkedIn, you're really broadcasting to your potential clients and your referral sources that you don't participate in that communication channel. And I'm guessing that doesn't serve your organization well.
Right.
So you want to have a presence there. You can also convey through that presence the culture of your organization, because there may be people looking at your company profile saying, is this someplace maybe I'd like to go to work? And they can see client testimonials, they can see a lot of marketing information on there, job openings. So there's a lot of ways that an organization could leverage it. The simple bottom line is you definitely want to have at least a presence, and then as time goes by, you'll figure out ways to leverage that.
Okay. What are some things to avoid, either from the beginning or if you've been on it for a while, what are things to avoid?
I would say don't try and kiss on the first date. And what I mean by that is a lot of people are using social media like this. Buy my product, 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 buy my product. The competition are a bunch of jerks, and don't forget to buy my product. And what they're not realizing is they're coming across as very salesy, very in your face, and not really somebody that you would want to do business with. So I would probably do maybe a 70-30 or an 80-20 split. Share content that people see value in, and then do a shameless self-promotion. But if all you do is a shameless self-promotion, it sounds like the infomercial channel, and I'm guessing most people aren't going to be watching the infomercial channel.
Right.
So build relationships.
Can you give me an example of what a large company might want to share as far as that balance of here's good content, say an insurance company, and here's a link to buy my stuff, or something along those lines?
I think that sometimes companies forget that as people are digesting the content they're sharing, which might not even be content that's promoting that company's goods or services per se, the people that are seeing that content, they're seeing where it's coming from. So a company automatically, just by sharing content, whether they've self-generated it or whether they're actually paying it forward in some way to some other entity, they're actually being perceived and they're growing that know, like, trust relationship. Let me just say this one sentence, because this one sentence, if you take nothing else away, it doesn't matter if it's online or offline. All things being equal, people do business with and refer business to people that they know, like, and trust.
That's so
Bottom
true.
line, true as gravity, game over, you're done. So in everything you're doing, make sure you're leveraging that know, like, trust relationship.
Okay, that is so true. I mean, businesses aren't businesses, it's just individuals at those businesses doing business with other individuals.
And can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
As social media proliferates more and more, that's becoming more self-evident. That regardless of your company, we're figuring out more and more as the world gets smaller through these different communication channels that we really are people first and entity second. I know that sounds very kumbaya group hug, but it's not. In a more and more interconnected world, it actually serves all of us very, very well to pay it forward and to take a sincere interest in other individuals.
Kevin, this has been a great time to spend with you, and you shared a lot of great information. The book again is called?
The Social Media Sales Revolution. It's being published by McGraw-Hill. If anybody goes to Amazon.com and types in that name or my name, Kevin Knebl, Knebl, they can find it.
And I believe it's coming out in July of this year? Right. Okay, so with that, any closing thoughts or comments that people should keep in mind?
The thing that I would keep in mind is that for every moment that you're learning how to use social media sites, spend a corresponding moment really fine-tuning your networking skills, because the bells and the whistles on these social media sites, they're always going to be changing. That's always going to change, but interpersonal relational skills, unless you're Tom Hanks living on an island somewhere with a volleyball named Wilson, you're going to want to have great interpersonal relational skills either at an organizational or a personal level. That's the game changer.
Kevin, thank you. This has been a great segment. I hope you were taking notes, and a lot of great information was shared. Don't forget to check out the book coming out in July. I'm Chris Kauza with Cazador Associates, and we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.